Welcome to the Confessions of a GroupX Instructor podcast. For group exercise junkies and enthusiastic classgoers, we'll explore and uncover authentic, thought-provoking, and heartwarming industry education and inspiration from entertaining, badass fitness pros. And now your host, creator of Warrior Rhythm, Warrior Strength, Warrior Combat, Warrior Revolution, and Warrior Kids Group fitness brands, Ellen DeWord. Here we grow.
Welcome, everybody. I'm so happy to have Liz here with me on the show. And Liz, why don't you tell us how did we meet? Why don't you
Yeah,
yeah, go.
yeah, I'll definitely say how we connected. And thank you so much for having me. I'm so excited to be on your podcast. So we have a mutual friend, Nicole Printon. She does, I think it's the Nutrition Bites
Yes.
on your podcast. And I met Nicole, I think it was, I forget the year, but we were doing Beachbody coaching together.
Okay.
And we met in some Push to Diamond Facebook group or something like that. And
You
yeah, I know. We
just
just
gave me PTSD.
yeah, I know. I'm starting to get about it. But yeah, we met in a group and we ended up becoming accountability partners. And we just clicked and we are like dear friends. She's like my sister from another mister. So we
Yeah.
still support each other. We still support each other in what we do. So gosh, that was so long ago.
I know, that's great. She told me she recommended you for the show, and I think the entire world of her. And yes, she is the one that
And
does.
she talked about you a lot too. So that was really what got me interested in listening to your podcast as well. And then being like, you know.
Yay. Well, I'm really happy to have you here, and I wanted to let everyone know that both Liz and I might have who knows what's going to happen, but like she's got people in her background. I've got animals and a kitchen remodel going on and a daughter who's going to come do her laundry any moment. So there might be interruptions, but we are here to talk about Liz's love for corrective exercise. So, what inspired you to specialize in corrective exercise? And like, how did you find your way into this niche?
Yeah, so this was great. This is a great question because I love just taking the time to reflect back on, how far I've come.
Yeah.
I think it's good to do that every once in a while. But I became a yoga teacher back in 2006, and I was teaching yoga at 24 Hour Fitness when I was living in San Francisco at the time. I'm in Albany, New York right now, but I was teaching there. And I was also seeing a personal trainer myself, just getting personal training. And I got exposed to so many fitness formats. And my husband at the time, he was doing Beachbody workouts. I'm going to say that again, but that's really a connection there with my fitness journey. He was doing a lot of those workouts at home. And that kind of got me just into more fitness. And then we moved to Albany, New York. That's where he's originally from.
Okay.
And that was back in 2012. And I got a part-time yoga job at Best Fitness. It's a local gym around here. And just started getting certified in other formats, got certified as a fitness instructor. I just wanted to learn all of it.
Yeah.
And later on in about 2017, I got certified as a personal trainer because I just got more into what are different ways I can grow and move out into this. And, when I started to see clients who would go through joint replacements or would have very interesting, I'm going to say interesting restrictions in the body that made me feel like, I don't know what this is. I have no idea what is going on with this person, just being really honest, what is going on with this person's body, and just trying different things out. And I feel like having a yoga background helped me just have that eyeball, observing people and observing movement patterns. And, I have a friend who's also in the fitness industry who's a corrective exercise specialist. And just as I went through my personal training journey, looked into that. And that really is what made me focus more on corrective exercise.
Huh. It's
You
interesting
know?
that you had your yoga teacher training, you had a personal training certificate, and still you were like, what's going on with this person's body? I don't know. So
I
that's,
had an idea, but I think also I wanted to stay in like my scope of practice too, because that's the other thing too, is that it doesn't fit, we don't fix, we don't cure anybody, that sort of thing. But it was just like, yeah, I don't know what's going on with this person. So maybe I should,
so
you know.
how would you explain corrective exercise to the layperson, someone that isn't familiar with that term?
So, there's a couple different definitions. I mean, there's the textbook, from National Academy of Sports Medicine, which is where I got my specialization from. And it's a technique that uses anatomy, kinesiology, and biomechanics of the body to identify and fix movement compensations and imbalances.
Mm.
And really, the goal of it is to improve overall movement quality in both workouts, but also in daily life. It's not just about working out, it's about daily life. And which I think is really important. And I would have to say, my definition is really looking at posture
Mm.
and areas of the body that may be over and underworking, causing these muscle imbalances
Mhm.
in the musculoskeletal system. And of course, that affecting the nervous system. So I just feel like it just
Ooh,
goes like there's just like a chain of events that can happen. I mean, everything's connected to the nervous system.
yeah.
And I could go off about that, but I won't.
Well, you can.
Because, I mean, stress, right? I mean, stress hits the body, whatever it is, whether it's from your job,
Yeah.
from an injury, from a surgery, any sort of event,
Mhm.
or just long term sitting at your desk, if you have a desk job,
Yeah.
you know.
Yeah. I know when I lead trainings and we only have a brief little tiny part of an 8 hour instructor training day. So we can't do a deep dive. We kind of do a cursory review
Okay.
of, anatomy and kinesiology and stuff. And
Yeah, of
we
course.
always remind people like, everyone has areas where they're tight. Everyone has areas where they're weak. And we have some sort of classic dysfunctions like short and tight in the chest, short and tight in the hip flexors, long and weak in the back, long and weak in the glutes. We have these
That's
sort of like
common. Yeah.
throw a dart. This is the general population is like this. But, let's not forget that our bones are connected via ligaments, and so we're literally just we are like a puppet strung together. But
Yeah. Yeah.
the muscles are connected. So if we have tightness in the body, or imbalance, and we have tight musculature, those muscles are also connected to the bones via tendon. So we're literally changing the way our skeleton stacks and lines up, and our spine and our posture and everything else. And so yeah, the human body is truly amazing. And yeah.
Yeah, and can I add to that though? Like, because it's also connective tissue too. It's fascia
Yeah.
as well. Like the fascia, which I like to call the saran wrap that just
Yeah.
wraps around everything, the whole body from head to toe, bottoms of the feet.
Yeah.
Those are the areas I think it's very connected to the nervous system. So when there is impact or injury or trauma,
Huh.
that's going to send that signal. And that's why and that is why other parts of the body compensate. Oh, there's something going on over here. So I got to take over to help the body find balance,
Huh.
which is great and amazing. That's why that's why I find it so amazing is the body knows how to help you, to support you. But then over time,
Yeah, right.
that's where it gets a little rough.
Okay.
Yeah.
So I know we're going to dig deeper into all that stuff, but
Yeah.
do you think the general fitness professional should have a basic understanding of corrective exercise? Like you've obviously dedicated, it's a specialty of yours, but do you think it's something that everybody should be, maybe as we're going about our pursuit of continuing education, be looking
Mhm.
into?
It definitely has there's a time there is a time and a place. Is that the way I want to put it? A time and a place for corrective exercise. Not everybody might need it,
Yeah.
per se, but I do feel it would be great to get a basic understanding. You sort of get a basic understanding when you do, I feel like when most personal training certs do that, it's like very minimal. Um, but I really feel like it gives you that extra feedback when you're looking out into your room of students. They always say,
Yeah.
like when I became a group fitness instructor, I remember then the training's like, check out who's walking in the room and where are they coming from, and like
Yeah,
that kind
let's
of
talk
thing.
about that because that's like perfect,
Yeah.
especially for this audience. So when you are, okay, a couple questions wrapped up into one here.
Okay.
What are some sort of, this is part A, what are some like pretty typical movement dysfunctions that we might see in our classrooms? And what's your best approach for addressing them? Or how
Okay.
would you recommend an instructor handle them if they observe them?
Okay. Yeah. And, even it's just like, I feel like, the most common ones is, and I might ask you what the second question was in a minute, but
It's okay.
sometimes I think it's the squat, right?
Right.
It's the squat form where it's somebody's knees might be knocking in. I see that a lot. You might see people's knees like go
Like
inward.
valgus
Valgus, yes.
collapse, valgus collapse
Valgus, or the other way, varus, which they bow out.
on
Um,
a bike when their seat's too low. I see it every time.
yeah. Oh my God. Yeah. There you go. Um, so there could be a variety of things going on there with the squat. There's tightness in the calves and the hips.
Mhm.
And then the other one is the hip hinge movement,
Oh, totally. Yeah.
which drives me nuts. It drives me nuts. I'm just going to say, like, it does drive me nuts in a group fitness sort of room
You cringe.
where it's like people get too rounded.
Yeah.
They bend at their waist, right? I feel like the squat where it's with the knees and then the hip hinge with the spine.
I
If,
agree.
if you are tight in your hips or your hamstrings, you are going to round forward. If you don't have that mobility in your hips
Yeah.
because of tight glutes, hamstrings, or quads or hip flexors, but sometimes it's ankles too, right? It comes from
Right.
further down below. You're going to see a lot of that. And
Yeah, I
yeah,
would say I'll get back to the second part of the question in a second. I just want to weigh in
yeah,
personally. I
definitely.
I have movement dysfunction in my
Hey, me
squat.
too.
It's due to I don't even like to talk about it, but it's not because I don't like to like talk about injuries, but it's an old ACL repair gone bad. It was a bad surgery, and
Geez.
then it cascaded into a few more surgeries. So
Okay.
I do have movement dysfunction, and my body does compensate. And anyway, I'm like I just see myself trying to cheat moves
Yeah,
to appear like I'm going deeper in a squat than I am or whatever. But um I would concur.
that's what we do, right? I
Yeah.
mean,
Yeah, we want to look like we're,
we
going
want to, and we have to demo the difference, right? We have to be like, there's this, and then there's this, but you want
up.
it here. Yeah,
So I would agree like the squat, lunge, um hinging,
lunch, definitely.
and also a lot of forward head position.
Yes, I was going to bring that one
Yeah,
up. That one's
okay.
another common one. It's
Mhm.
the upper cross syndrome, the
Yes, yes.
psychosis where it's just the head's out, it's rounded through the shoulders. Yeah. I mean,
I know your face. You're like it's painful.
I was just, and I'm not gonna lie. I was doing it today.
I know.
I was on the computer and I was like, my neck, what's going on? And then I'm like, oh,
Same. I share that with people in my classes too when I'm talking about form and technique. I'm like, yeah, my posture looks like $1 million when I'm at the gym in front of all of you. But when I'm like at home doing admin and I'm, on my laptop, I
you're
fall apart
tired.
sometimes.
Yeah, and it's stamina, it's like, it's your time, the muscles get tired just like anything.
Yeah.
But if you're always in that position,
Right.
So that is one of the things that, I always look at for people walking into the room. I think it's the common things. Yeah.
So that was so the second part of that question was,
How do I approach?
do you have any strategies on how do you like, I mean, this is also, I believe, an kind of an independent, I think I think instructors, it depends on maybe their relationship with their students or that student on how they might address it. Because there's obviously like the shotgun general cue approach versus going right up to them and dealing with them. But what do you recommend and how do you go?
Yeah, I love this question because I teach a lot of small group training too. But even in a bigger room, more people in a big GroupX room, if I see like a common thing and I've been seeing it like the past few classes or whatever, before that class, I will address it to everybody. Like, hey, be careful when you are hinging. And I'll demo the two different, this is how you want to hinge
Great.
versus this, or, when we squat, let's look at our knees. Let's all look at our knees. And in group X rooms is great if there's mirrors, right? Usually there's mirrors so people can kind of look. And I know some people tell me, oh, I don't like to look at myself, and that's fine. But even if you can't see yourself in the mirror, just look at your knees when you squat. How does it feel when you bend over? Because sometimes people tell me my back or my hamstrings are so tight, like I don't like the hip hinge. So it's just something I think it's good to give like a general.
Yeah. I think so. I love that you do it before class. You actually just reminded me because I'd forgotten about this, but
Yeah.
I was starting to see a lot of my students do Warrior Two with
Yeah.
I call it jousting, where they like shift. Well, you're a yogi, you know what I'm talking about.
Yeah.
Where they like shift their ribs out over their instead
Yes.
of keeping them flat.
Yes.
And I just noticed they were all leaning forward.
Like leaning over
Yeah,
to the bent knee
exactly.
side. Yes.
Exactly. So if you're listening to the show, Liz and I both demoed the leaning into Warrior Two.
The lean over. Yes.
You just reminded me, I did it before class. I was like, hey, team, like this is something I'm starting to see. So, try to work on this today. Cause it was like not just one person, it's kind of like the whole crew. But I like how
Mhm.
you go about it. And you've actually already said something a couple times since we've been talking that I've picked up on. You're like, when it's the compensation or the movement dysfunction, but when it is prolonged or like if they keep doing it, when it's over time, you've said something like that a few times already. So I feel like
Yep.
it's a wise, kind approach is to try general cueing first in the hopes that they're paying attention, that they're listening, and that they can make those corrections. But then if you for me, if I continue to see my students over the weeks, they always have a excessively flexed spine on their hip hinge, that's when I will
Yeah.
go up to them. And I think I've talked about this on the show before, because I used to have a really hard time like correcting people because I was worried about hurting their feelings or embarrassing.
Yeah. Yeah.
So this
Yeah.
changed my teaching life, and I actually learned it from one of my original bosses and mentors. She was like, just say, how does that feel?
Yeah.
That's like my favorite way to address a form issue,
That-
because then they're usually like, uh whatever they say, it feels fine, or I don't know, like, but they want to know why the instructor is saying, how does that feel? And so it kind of helps me open the conversation, and then I'll be like,
yeah.
I think you could get more engagement in your glutes and protect your lower back if da, 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 like hinge at the hip, shoulders back, if so that's sort of how that's kind
No,
of
I like that you said that because it is, and then that way you're addressing everybody and you're educating your
hmm
students. You're giving them because you care, right?
yeah,
Essentially you care. You want them to have fun. You want them to take the class. You want them to come back. But when
yeah,
you do that, when you give them that little piece,
yeah.
whether they come, sometimes if you're a personal trainer teaching group fitness, you might get a client out of that where they're like, you know what? After class, I'm going to, and they come up to you because that's how
Yeah.
I've gotten clients
I
is where I
love
would,
that.
right? Like I just
Yeah.
address the whole group and then they're like, you know what? you know,
More of that.
I want more of that. I want more attention from you,
Yeah.
not just in the group. I want just your
Wow.
attention. And it's like, okay, let's have a conversation about that. Like, what is going on? And it's important to ask questions, right? And that sort of one-on-one situation, but as a collective, as a group, um, I love doing that because I love seeing people's faces, especially when I'm like, okay, everybody slump your shoulders. Now try to raise your arms up, and they're like,
Oh, I love that approach. Yeah.
and they're like, oh my God, okay. I'm like, now, let's reset. And then they're like, oh wow, just those little bits. And then it's
Oh,
like, now let's do the class, and I kind of like give them that little, it's like a little bonus.
yes, it's a little mini
Little
education.
bonus.
Yes, I love it.
Because it also tells you, like, this is what I also do. Like,
Yeah. The other thing I was gonna say, oh, just about like correcting people's form,
yeah,
and how that is really hard for, I think, generally a hard thing for instructors to do. I think it's safe to say. And
yes.
one other little just like nudge I want to give us as a family of group fitness instructors out there listening. If we don't correct egregious form, which we all see in our classes. We all see these common things. If we ignore it, the educated people in our room, we have doctors and I have a physical therapist that takes my class,
Oh, yeah.
all my classes all the time. Like we have some educated people
With
in the room.
professors in my classes,
Yeah, and people that
yeah,
know alignment, like that they're in the field or they just know. And if they see that we neglect to address a form issue, it does reflect really poorly on us. So
yeah.
again, I don't have as hard of a time with it these days now that I've been teaching for 5 million years, but I definitely struggle. I would say the first like 5 to 10 years of teaching, I didn't correct anyone's form ever.
No, I
I was
didn't
just
either.
like, la-di-da.
When I first started teaching yoga, that was the first time I taught anything in front of people. So I was terrified and I was just trying to get through the class, like
Right.
this pose, that pose, this pose.
Right, right. And probably no personality. Like that comes way
I
later.
talked really quiet like this, like really quiet.
And high pitched. Oh my gosh. Okay, anyway, we digress. But
No.
yeah. Okay, so what do you think are some common overuse injuries that instructors have and deal with? Or
Mm.
thoughts about that?
Oh gosh, I can talk about my own.
Or like even like how we have to, a lot of us have to or want to teach multiple times a week.
Yeah, and I ran into this especially, and I'm sure we all did during COVID when we just taught a billion classes online, because that's what I did, and ended up with a lot of overuse injuries. Um, I mean, I'd say, if this is a concern, or, if you want to keep doing this, you want to keep teaching at the capacity you're teaching at. I mean, I feel like, yeah, if you want to keep going with the capacity of your teaching that you're doing, get evaluated by, a practitioner who is, educated in corrective exercise, but even has been around long enough who can pinpoint different movement patterns, overuse muscles. But, be the student, be the client. That's what I essentially did. I was like, enough is enough. I want somebody to watch me. Um, a massage therapist, they'll definitely know. Like if you have no idea, I mean, you go to a massage therapist and they
Totally.
they'll touch and be like, whoa, and you have no idea
Yeah.
that you had something going on there. Because I mean, even a physical therapist will say, like, okay, this might be hurting or this might be tight, but that's just the referred
Yeah.
point. It could be in
Mhm.
the neck. It could be down here. It could be across the body,
Yeah.
right? So, I think if you've been complaining about an area that's been bothering you, like over and over again, like it just keeps coming up, because sometimes things heal, but then they come right back again, get evaluated. Um, Yeah, I mean, it was interesting. Can I just tell a quick story
Yeah,
about,
please.
so I, my left medial deltoid, right? This
Yeah.
small muscle was like extra tight. It was like it hurt. It was so tight. And I go, what did I do? I'm like doing this, like, what the hell is this? Like, and I was foam rolling it with like a tennis ball against a wall. I was doing all these things that I knew, right? I'm like, well, I have to like calm it down and then I have to stretch it. And then I got to figure out what muscle is weak that's not doing its job, right? Why did this one take over? And to make a long story short, I went to my chiropractor and she found that it was my left pec minor muscle,
Oh,
which is right around the corner from the delta. But when she hit it, I could feel this part relax,
wow.
which blew my mind. And I couldn't believe it when I go, what the? And she goes, I think it's your pec minor. I really do. Like, let's do something. And it resolved.
That's incredible.
And I was just going to that point, going to that point. So, not that caring for that area, you shouldn't care for that area because I know it's like as a fitness instructor, I think we all should get like if we could, I mean, if I could afford it, I would get a massage every other week, but get one as frequently as you can.
Yeah.
Just to again, connective tissue, right? Especially group fitness instructors, we might have a full-time job and do the GroupX thing part-time and have other things going on too. So I know I mentioned stress earlier. Take care of your body in that way. Or you do some self-myofascial release, grab a foam roller, roll out your muscles.
Yeah.
Because we do have crappy posture. I mean, we can't always be perfect with our posture.
Okay, so
We can only do our best. I don't know. Did that answer?
yeah, it did. Speaking of little stories, do you have any is there a story that jumps out at you from a client of yours that's had a big transformation with corrective exercise?
Yeah, I have a few. But for one of my clients, I have a couple, but one of my clients, she had her knee replaced. I want to say, gosh, it'll be a year and a half ago, and we had been working together prior to that. So I was helping her do all her
Yeah.
her pre exercises
Yeah.
before surgery.
Great.
And I knew in the back of my head, I'm like, oh, she's going to have some, compensation for sure on the other side because of the pain of the
Yeah.
and
the
her right knee. So she had her surgery. She went through rehab beautifully just because she did all the exercises she was supposed to do. And then when I evaluated her, she had this weight shift.
Huh.
She had the weight shift to the right. I'm sorry, scratch that. Her knee was on the left. She had her left knee replaced.
Okay.
So the weight shift was to the right. So when I'd see her squat, she literally would shift to the right because the right was like, I'm helping the left out.
That's literally what I do, but go ahead.
I do too. No,
okay.
I do too. Because I've had hip stuff, let me tell you. So I addressed it. I said, you have this weight shift. And I had her look in the mirror. And she was like, oh my God. And I go, yeah, it's normal. It's a normal thing your body did because your left knee was so painful. It was so painful to put weight on there. Your right was like, I got it. Yeah. So we have to really loosen up some of that right side, the hip, even the inner thighs on the left side, there's all this cross stuff going back and forth too. And she was like, of course, it was like racking her brain. She was like, what the, I'm like, just trust me. We need to roll this out, stretch this out, stretch. And now it's finally, does she still weight shift to the right at times? Sure. Because it was a pattern for so long.
Right.
But she, at least now when she squats, it's.
Right. But see, had you not done that work with her, she might be in another world of orthopedic hurt or surgery down the road. And
yes,
I had a cervical fusion on my neck back in 2009. It was wildly successful. But anyway, I did so much great work in physical therapy after for like a year because
Oh, nice.
I knew that if I didn't do the work, that the dysfunction that led to the initial disc problem would just happen again to the levels above. So it was
Yeah,
like I credit the like incredible recovery to both a good surgery, but equally, if not more, the post-operative rehabilitation.
that's really great. That's really great that wow, you're lucky that you just knew though to like I don't want that to happen. You know, I don't want it to come back or I don't want it to affect another part of my body.
Yeah.
Um
It was just a lot of hyperextension, looking, cycling and looking at my class doing deadlifts. And it was just a lot of, and it's
overuse.
easy for instructors to do because we do want to look at our students when we're in plank or push up or, we film these fitness videos for instructors. I'm
Yes.
like, I'm like, look at the camera and smile, even if you're in plank. Like, I know it's not good form, but like, so, and you see it in marketing posters, like on fitness magazines and all kinds of marketing for fitness. Like the instructor or the professional is like looking at the camera and not always in correct alignment. So I think we're in a tough industry. Do you ever see fit pros like do it wrong, like give the wrong advice, like where they shouldn't be, or no?
Um,
Like trying to fix clients maybe without having the background, or no?
that's a good question. You know, I haven't really seen, it's like I hear, like if I take a fitness class, I will hear like the general cues of engage your core.
Right.
And I'm just using that one because I still sometimes let that one slip. I try to lead with the action of what I want that is, even though it might be a mouthful. Like pull your belly button in toward your spine.
Yeah.
You know, I do hear certain cues like, zip it up, suck it in, and I get like the word cringy. Can I say cringy?
Yeah.
Um, And I think we all have good intention. Like we're all like we have the common goal of helping everybody. It doesn't mean that we're bad or um but I sometimes hear that, but not as much. I feel like it's not as bad as it was
Hmm.
um at some point in time. But I mean, in terms of like corrective exercise, I always say ask questions, always ask questions.
Yeah. That's great. Ask them questions, and then
Ask questions,
we need to
yeah.
be ready to refer too, don't you think?
Yeah. So, I mean, I think with like if a student comes up to you after class or something and asks, because I get this hurts when I do this movement, what exercise can I do to help it? You know?
Hmm.
And I mean, right after that, I just start asking questions about how long, first of all, how long has this been bothering you? Is
Yeah.
it from a prior injury or other event? I get information. I just say get as much information. Don't start throwing things out there like, oh yeah, just stretch this and roll this out and do this and that and this. Um, I haven't heard anybody do that, but I mean, I'm sure we've all done it, right? I know I've probably done it. Of course, we're not at the confession part yet, but
We're close. We're getting really close. We're almost at that part.
but I always say this because it was always said to me by mentors. Always ask questions, always assess. If especially if people are coming up to you like this hurts, this hurts, this hurts, and practice within your scope, right?
Yes. Oh, thank you for saying that. I was like,
Yeah,
I was actually
I'm
thinking like,
huge.
we need to touch on that.
Yeah, no, I always say, and I will refer. I go, you know what? If something is not like, I just had a client. She has a desk job and she just got an MRI because she thinks she pinched a nerve. So I was before that happened, it sounded like a pinched nerve to me, but I was going to be like, it's a pinched nerve. I just said, you might want to go to your doctor
Right.
and get this checked out because it could be some nerve thing. You know what I mean?
Love
You
it.
just say
That's
it
perfect.
could be this. but I don't know. And and I say that, like, I literally put my hands up and I go, but I don't know. I'm not a doctor.
Yeah. Yep.
I
Same.
know what I know, you
Same.
know.
Same. And sometimes I like do know, but
Yeah,
I
I know.
still say exactly kind of how you did it. Like it could be patellar tendonitis, but I'm not a doctor, so you should really go.
It could be IT band syndrome,
Yeah.
but
No, it's true. It's true. It's true. Okay. So if you could wave a magic wand and
mm,
fix one common movement dysfunction across the world, what would it be?
oh my gosh.
One. You have to pick one.
Just one. Okay. I think it's going back to the rounded shoulders, kyphosis,
Up the upper crust.
upper cross syndrome, because nowadays it's so common because of these.
Uh-huh. She's holding her cell phone,
I'm
people.
holding my cell phone and I'm dropping my head down, and all this weight is now putting my skull, which weighs 25 pounds, right? Our skulls weigh about 25 pounds. And then the more it's angled down to look at our screens, it just adds more weight, pressure to our cervical spine, which is our neck, around our neck. All these kids on devices, I feel like they're just going to grow an extra vertebrae.
For real.
And it pains me.
Or when I see like little old people with like a
Yes, that too.
Gallagher hump or something like that, I literally look at them or see them like kind of shuffling all around it and I think, oh my God, this could have been prevented.
I
Like,
work with a lot of older adults and I see a lot of that. I see it
yeah.
very minor, and we're doing things to, even in group classes, to correct it. But some there, it's like, so it's been years.
Mhm.
They are stuck in this. Yeah.
Um, so it's weird that like that work starts in youth, in middle age, that preventative work starts just kind of like now they're saying like Alzheimer's and dementia like
Hmm.
starts when you're in your 40s,
I
that you
know.
get diagnosed in your 70s. It's kind of the same like
Yeah.
just microscopic, minuscule compound effect. I do try to do a lot of corrective programming in our formats, just knowing that upper crust is such a
Huh.
common thing, and because like in our kickboxing format, we're literally like
You're like this. Yep.
we're literally
Protected.
shrugging, yeah, for guard, and then in cycling, though we are keeping, it's just so calm, it's so easy to fall
Because you're forward.
gravity and round and then yeah exactly and then everything else so we do so much chest opening,
Yeah.
just so much spinal extension
Which
work.
is so great because, yeah, I mean, it's good you're doing that. I
Oh
think every programmer, especially when you do fitness programming, you should do that.
yes, every programmer, yes, 100%. Okay, I have two big questions for you, but I should have said this earlier. I'm using a new microphone.
Oh, okay.
I hope it's working, and so Liz,
It's fine.
if it's not, we're gonna repodcast.
You know what? I mean, I can hear you on my end.
I'm hoping that it's just
If you had a thought, right?
I had this little thought like, hey,
Yep.
I should have done a little test of this before recording. So anyway, hopefully this will be this. Hopefully we won't have to redo this whole episode. Okay,
Of
I have two
course.
questions for you. Um, one is I want to know how corrective exercise has changed your life personally, and then like your training, your teaching, your life, whatever, however you want to take that question. And then of course I want a confession from you. So okay, let's hear it.
So, how is it
Like how
made a
has
difference for
how,
me?
yeah, like how has deciding to kind of specialize in this niche, how has that really changed you?
I mean, it's huge way. I mean, I feel like it's given me just more knowledge, education, and it's enhanced my assessment skills as a trainer when I look at movement patterns with not just one-on-one clients, but just even as a whole group of people, um, it definitely has helped me in that respect, like professionally. Whether I'm using it in personal training or in fitness classes, it's helped me approach my own training. Like, because I mean, as I've gotten older, um, I've had to modify my own training regimen. There's just some things that I just shouldn't do anymore. Let's just say, because when I do them, it's not good the next day.
Same.
Right.
Right.
So just being able to approach my own training regimen so that I stay healthy and for a long time, my longevity. Um, Gosh, is there anything else I want to say? Yeah, it's just the knowledge of it all is huge. When you know more about something, you're just like, oh,
Yeah.
it's going to help you personally. It is. And those people you love too, because I know when my father-in-law, he had back surgery. He had to have back surgery because he had this nerve, or one of his discs kind of slipped or moved, like something moved like one direction then the other. It was wacko. Um, I was able to have that conversation with him, and he's a surgeon, so he knows anatomy, but he didn't know this.
Yeah.
So I felt like, oh my gosh, like I'm so glad I know this, that I can at least support people, you know.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Cool. Okay. Do you have any confession? It doesn't have to be, it can be anything. It can be serious, it can be not serious, it can be related to the topic or not. It's really just
Yeah,
a
I was
fun part
thinking
of the
about
show.
this. I know I was thinking about this, and I thought, because we've been talking about serious stuff, I thought I could put some silly stuff in here. Although when I was coming up with it, I'm like, I'm sure everybody's had this happen to them, but no.
What? Ooh, do tell.
I have a couple
Okay.
silly ones. So I remember when this was a while ago when I was teaching, this was pre-COVID, when I was teaching small group training really early in the morning. Like I did a 5:30 a.m., a 6:30 a.m., and then I had a little break, and then I did a 9 a.m. It was just like boom, 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 boom. And, I was like a new mom and tired, and, we've all been there if you're a mom. Um, I taught like 3 group training classes. And after that 9 a.m., I was like, it was done at 10. My coworker, my boss actually, she's like, Liz, can I tell you something? And I was like, what? She goes, your exercise pants are inside out.
Oh. After 3 classes,
And
she
I
told
was
you after
just
one.
like, I look down and I'm like, and I lift my shirt and the tag is hanging. I'm like, oh my God. I'm like, I hope people were just as tired as me.
No kidding.
I was mortified.
It was so
Um, and then the second one was I taught 2 morning classes in a row.
yeah.
And how your sports bras have the pads inside them?
Well, I throw mine out, but I know what you mean. Yes.
Yeah. Well, I wear mine. One of them had shifted to the other side. So I had one big boob on this side and lower, and I was just like, oh my God. Like I get home and I look down and I go, why is it?
So funny. That's a totally original one. You had both little pads on the one
I
side.
had one side, so this one was bigger and this one, and I'm like, oh my God.
The funny thing is probably no one noticed any of the, well, the one lady obviously noticed your pants because she told you after 3
Yeah, my boss was just like, come here. I gotta tell you something.
That is so funny. I tell people if I see that I do see every once in a while like the shirt or the pants on inside out, and I always
So do I, and I say something, not in front of people. I just say, hey, I have something I have to tell you. No, I say I have a quick question for you.
oh, that's so good.
That's what I say. I go, I have a quick question for you. And they're like, oh, okay. And I just say,
Oh, that's
and
good.
they're like, really?
That's really good.
Because it's happened to me.
So before we kind of, or like as we wrap up, I wanted to say there was something you did during this episode that was inspiring to me. And that was you kind of shifted to the front burner of my mind how important it is to to use little moments before class to educate. And just hearing you share the couple stories about you taking a moment to talk about this move or that before class even starts was just such a great reminder to me. I've definitely done that kind of thing many times, but I don't think I've done it lately. And it's just a great, we are educators and we do, this is our,
We are.
and we, and some, I
We
have
spend a lot of money on our education.
we do. Let's
You
use
know?
it. And they want that from us. And it makes them feel special. It shows our level of
Because,
care. It adds to our credibility. And it's just great. So I
yeah,
appreciated that good little reminder in addition to everything else.
good.
So tell us, how can we, so you started in the West Coast, which is where I am, and now you're on the East Coast, where Nicole is.
Well,
Um,
I'm originally from the East Coast, but I lived on the
oh,
West Coast for like 9 years. So
okay.
I was up there for a while.
Which
Yeah.
coast do you like better?
Even though my family, I'm from the East Coast and all my family is back here, I do miss,
Yes.
I just feel like there's a part of me there. Like there's a part of me. I'm part of the West Coast, let's just
Yeah.
say.
Yeah.
I really love it out there. It's beautiful.
Oh, you were in California. I'm in
You're
Oregon.
in Oregon.
A
Yeah.
little different. Like pieces of it are very
I've
similar.
been to Portland. I've been to Portland. I have a friend that lives right near in Portland. So
So, but it's like California's beachier. We're still obviously ocean, but
yeah, but it's different.
it's
Yeah.
different and it's more the Pacific Northwest is kind of mystical and magical and
Yes, it is.
real and it's just really beautiful. I have fallen in love with it, but
Mhm.
I like all different types of
I'm still in love with the West Coast. Yeah.
um I've been going out to the East Coast more. I've never been to New York a day in my life. And I travel all the time. It's crazy. I've never
Oh
been.
my gosh.
I can't even. And I have
New York
like
New York City is definitely a beast.
I can't wait. I got close a month ago and anyway. Okay. Well, tell the audience where they can find you on social or any website or any links, anything you wanted to.
Yes. Yep. So I am on Facebook these days, but I am on Instagram. And you can find me at Liz Filippone on Instagram. And you can probably search on Facebook that as well.
Do you want to spell Filippone?
Yeah, so it's F as in Frank, Ilippone.
Okay.
Liz
And
Phillip, all one word.
did you send me those links? I
I
will.
did. I sent
Great.
you
Great.
links. Yeah, yeah, I sent you those links.
Um,
And
and we'll put them in the show notes. So
yes,
if you're on your mobile device and just want to like go click on those and give Liz a follow,
yes, please.
want to comment on the episode or anything like that. Now, just a little update. I too am on Facebook now. Barely, not really. I'm not going to go into this at this point.
Yeah,
My
yeah, yeah.
but in case you are have been following my saga, I do have a new Facebook account. People seem to be worried that it's not real, but it is. It's
No,
real.
I think I've seen it. Yeah,
Yeah,
no, it's
so it's Ellen D Word if you guys want to follow me over there. It's a tiny little account. And anyway, but our Confessions of a Group X Instructor podcast Instagram is still gone. And I'm still trying to fight for it. But in any event, you can still find us and I'll still be sharing the episode. And you can comment and be social within the podcasting apps. Like Spotify is so cool right now.
I really love that you can comment now.
Dude, it's so cool. Like, I mean, Apple Music podcast, Apple Podcast, I mean,
Yeah,
is like it is the number one platform. Like it's
yeah.
more people listen to our show on Apple, but holy cow, I think that will change because Spotify's doing some really cool things and like, oh my gosh, like did I put a poll on this episode? I might have. Anyway, it's just really neat. But reach out to us. Let us know
Yeah.
what you think about the show. And Liz, thank you so much for joining.
You're welcome. And thank you for having me. This was so fun. It was so great to meet you.
Yeah, I know. We got to meet on the show. I love that. All right. Bye, everybody.
Thank you for joining in on the Confessions of a GroupX Instructor podcast. If you're interested in becoming a warrior instructor, go to warriorinstructors.com. But if you want more and found this episode amazing, please give us a rating. And with a simple click to subscribe, we'll invite you back to our next episode. So remember, be brave, be bold, be blessed. And above all, listen, learn, love.